DT with Athletics Director of LeMoyne, Bob Beretta, and myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT. We are here with you getting set for the official moment of going into Division One. So the decision was obviously made. We got to break that here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and through Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. Thanks to Bob Beretta as well as Dr. Linda Lemura and everybody here at LeMoyne that gave me that opportunity. From there, July 1st, 2023 happened, and now this week, as we're talking with you on Wednesday, August 16th, tomorrow, Thursday, August 17th, in the afternoon at the University of Maine, we will officially see LeMoyne as a full member Division I institution in NCAA play, as the women's soccer team will take on the University of Maine Black Bears, the Dolphins, and the women's soccer team get to start it off. So with that being said, happy to start this off with you.
Yeah, really excited, Dan. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. So let's go there. Tomorrow it officially begins. And so what are your thoughts on knowing that that's the moment and that the women's soccer team gets to usher us in?
I'm really excited, Dan. I'm really excited for the young ladies in the program. I'm excited for all of our student athletes. But more than anything else, I find myself this week reflecting on how grateful I am for the support here at LeMoyne. Yeah. And to get us to this point has been a heavy lift for many people outside of athletics. Certainly within athletics and our staff here, I have a tremendous debt of gratitude for the work that they've done, our coaches. But really, all elements of campus have pitched in to make this work. And I don't want to start naming factions because I'm sure I'll leave folks out. But this has been a true team effort to pull our student athletes back sooner than ever.
Yeah.
This is as early as we've ever had student athletes on campus before. And that was a lot of work involved there. And there's so many different factors, from meal support to the services provided by our food hospitality caterer, all the folks in student life. There's just so many people that I know. I'm going to leave so many out, but there's this overwhelming feeling of gratitude that I have for the community here that has coalesced at this moment in time to find us really on the brink of history, and it'll never change, right? The first event at the Division I level where all of our programs were Division I is going to be tomorrow afternoon when our women's soccer team kicks off against Maine, and I had the opportunity to talk to them yesterday out on the field, talk to them a little bit about their place in history, and to really just enjoy this moment, because very few of us have opportunities to go through life to really create history and be a part of history. Yeah. You've done so with your own business and done so exceedingly well. But for us in athletics, we don't get that opportunity many times. So this is a pretty cool moment. I want them to enjoy this.
Yeah, and you said you got to go out, and thank you for those kind words. I appreciate that very much, especially coming from you. The opportunity you had to speak with the women's soccer team, what was that like, and what was maybe a lasting message that you wanted them to know?
Yeah, I want them to know that there's a lot of support behind them, and I'm going to talk to all of our teams about this message. We're going to measure success a little bit differently this year. Yeah. It's not just going to be about wins and losses. It's going to be the process and how we progressing. This is a journey. And we talked to the women's soccer team about that yesterday. We're going to talk to all of our student athletes about that. This is a long play. We're in this for the long play. This is a journey. We're all part of this. It's not just about wins and losses. It's about the experience. It's about the grind. It's about how we embrace, how we really espouse our LeMoyne way culture throughout these challenges, because there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be adversity. There is in the best of seasons, but certainly when you reclassify Division II to Division I, there's going to be challenges along the way, and we're not immune to that, and we expect that. But we also feel like it's going to instill and inculcate these life lessons in our student athletes that are going to make them stronger leaders when they graduate LeMoyne and go out and become leaders in all sectors of society.
Yeah, and that's the excitement, because I get asked that in the community all the time, is how do you think this team's going to do? How do you think that team's going to do? And I said, listen, obviously going from Division II to Division I, there's going to be that time where you have to grow and you have to, figure things out. And it's even outside of that. When you switch a conference in general, regardless of division, you have to learn new opponents. So my thing is more of the entertainment value and the exposure, the teams that you're playing, the places you're going, the parts of the country, the value of those relationships, getting to go up against other Jesuit institutions. There's so much more than the win-loss column that I think is going to be such a great experience for the student athletes and the coaches and the fans. that I can't help but get excited, and there's ones that I've gotten to tell everybody, there's ones that I can't yet, but I promise you, no matter what the sport is, we're going to have some fun this year.
Yeah, we are, and it's something we talked about, Dan, during the course of the reclassification discernment process, that we were facing a 2-year sit-out period where we wouldn't be eligible for conference championships if it was the NEC. We weren't sure what that was going to be if it was a different conference. We also know that during the reclassification period, as we stand here today, that we are not eligible for NCAA championships during the course of that 4-year reclassification period. Hopefully it will change. So what we really focused on during our conversations dating back a year ago to our student athletes is, we're going to create a championship experience for you all on a daily basis, and it might not result in a championship. That's okay. We can still create championship moments, and I think we're doing that. I think we're delivering on that. Obviously, you broke the news yesterday of the Villanova men's basketball game. You also broke the news on our first game against Georgetown that we'll play. Those are championship experiences for us doing that. Those are lifetime memories that we're creating. You look at our volleyball schedule, and we have 2 unbelievable trips. Like, I would love to be aligned and have the opportunity to go on those trips. One is to Charleston, South Carolina. I've never been, but I've heard it's outstanding, and we're going to go down there and have a tremendous experience for our student athletes. And then we're going to Florida Gulf Coast for another tournament. And this is a program, to my knowledge, has never stepped on a plane before. They've never flown to a competition before. And so now they're going to have 2 championship experiences, right? So those are some examples of when I talk about championship experience, and some of our student athletes might have had some anxiousness when they were thinking about the transition. I said, listen, it's going to be different. The day-to-day is going to be very different. Last year, and this is not meant to be disparaging, but our men's soccer team opened up against Jefferson. This year they're opening up at Penn State. There's a big difference there, and that's just reality. So I think there's a big difference in the experience, and there's certainly a big difference in the memories that we're going to be able to create amongst our student athletes.
Yeah, I mean, and you brought it up, and I've been to Charleston, and when I went to Charleston at the time I went, they had the best new restaurant in the country. So, and it was Husk at the time. I also went to go eat at the Tattooed Moose, which is a great place to go to as well. A lot of great food down there, and Guy Fieri had actually chosen that place. So when you say Charleston, that's what I think about. And then when you say the Florida Gulf Coast opportunity, FAU's a part of that. And so obviously covering FAU in the American Athletic Conference, and knowing Brian White, these experiences, when you see the logos that are on the schedule, and you could go to any one of the teams, there's these incredible, awesome matchups. And I have to be thinking in my head, like, which ones can I not tell you yet? But there's so much fun that is going to be happening. Like you said, when you talk about you might not win a championship, but you're going to have a championship experience in the transition, and people say, well, what does that mean? Well, for the student athletes, like you said, for volleyball to get on a plane for the first time ever as a team, all of these games and where they're being played, and going back to that Georgetown game, it's not just Georgetown, which is enough. But it's Ed Cooley's first game as the head coach of Georgetown, who's been at Providence forever. It's the Big East, which people in Syracuse know all about. And on top of that, it's on election night in the nation's capital in D.C. And then 2 days later, Philadelphia and Villanova, are you kidding me? So I get chills through my body, and I'm getting them right now, that when you look at it, that's what I tell people. I say, take this transition as a time to just enjoy the fact that LeMoyne is going to be playing brands of teams and places and opportunities where the student athletes are going to have an experience that they never had before at LeMoyne.
Yeah, and selfishly, Dan, I'm going to try to get to as many as possible. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go to Charleston or Florida Gulf Coast, but I think something else that we discussed in great detail during the discernment process was the non-conference inventory at our disposal within a 3.5 hour drive. So I'm already looking at the schedule, and I like to get out and support our teams as much as I can. So I'll be going to Penn State, to watch our men's soccer team play here in a couple weeks. And I'll be going down to watch our women's soccer team play Binghamton. I'm hoping to get down to watch them play Iona next week. I couldn't get out to Maine. We have a leadership retreat here this week, and unable to get out there and watch them play, but I'm excited because I can get out and support our student athletes in the non-conference space against really quality opponents in outstanding venues. So I'm a sports fan. At the crux of it all, I'm a sports fan. So I'm excited as a sports fan. I'm excited as a LeMoyne fan. I'm excited for our student athletes. I'm excited as if I was a student athlete, because I know I'd be really charged up to play in some of these competitions. So I'm really proud of our staff. And again, going back to the feeling of gratitude, it goes right back to our leadership, Dr. Lemura, Joe Grasso, our VP for Finance, our VPs that have supported us, because they've provided the resources to allow us to create these championship experiences. They didn't say, all right, we're going to go D1, and guess what? All your non-league games have to be within a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Like, we're working, trying to be very efficient with our funds, trying to secure guarantees that offset some of these costs. But for our volleyball team to hop on the plane and head down south twice within a month span, that's pretty exciting. And that doesn't happen without great alignment and without great support from leadership. And we have the best leader in the country in President Lemura, and our CFO values athletics in a way that I'm amazed how blessed we are to have that leadership in alignment for as we make this transition to Division I.
Yeah, if I'm Susan Kim, I'm like, oh, I'm so happy I came to the Heights for sure for women's volleyball. And let's go to basketball for a second here. It's not only Georgetown and Villanova and 2 teams in the Big East, and obviously logos that people know in Central and Upstate New York. They're 2 days apart.
Yeah.
So the 7th, Tuesday, November 7th, Thursday, November 9th, nation's capital, Philadelphia, Georgetown, Villanova. I already told you I'm going. And so you talk about being a fan first, and you don't get into athletics as a director of athletics if you're not a fan of sports. And you don't become a sportscaster if I wasn't a fan first. So being a fan within 72 hours, wow. I mean, talk about bringing that together, having that happen, and just what that experience can be like. Because I have been very kind to everybody in my life to tell you, whatever you need and whatever's going on, I'll see you after the 9th, is what I said.
Yeah, you know, and for us, we also talked about the value of engagement opportunities. So I know that our advancement folks and our alumni group, we're planning events the night before those games to be able to engage with our fan base in DC in a way that we haven't been able to around one of LeMoyne's athletic events. That's huge. It happens to be election night in our nation's capital, so I think there's going to be some juice that night down in DC amongst our LeMoyne family. But this is what athletics provides. It provides that platform. It's what Division I athletics provides, because it really rallies, it galvanizes a fan base, it galvanizes the entire community. So people are really excited about getting together, and that's what we're about. We're about family. We're about bringing people together, inviting folks into our college, our athletic department. Maybe they want to be part of that through a philanthropic measure, or just to engage with us so that we have our network expanded and we're able to reach out to our alums and our fans and our followers. But be able to do that in DC and Philly in the same week, Division I athletics provides us that platform.
Yeah, and to go a little bit deeper, since we just got to break the story on Tuesday, August 15th here on Wake Up Call about Villanova, just specifically what that game you feel does for LeMoyne.
Yeah, again, I think who you matters plays. I mean, I should say who you play against really matters. So yeah, apologize for that. Who you play against really matters. And it doesn't matter if it's men's basketball, baseball, softball, tennis, swimming. It's that brand association. So anytime we have the opportunity to align with elite brands such as Georgetown and Villanova, and there's several more to come on the men's basketball schedule. We broke the news of Army a few weeks ago. You broke that on our
when we were sitting in a very tough spot on the, not rooftop, but almost a rooftop there out at Tuscarora, where we just got to be in the sun after a fantastic day, and we're on the patio just talking about Army West Point. So.
But those are brands that are really important, and the other brands in the non-conference space that we're going to compete against, whether it's Binghamton or Canisius or Army or Cornell, and there's others, and we hope to be able to add Syracuse to that list in greater detail here in the future months, and I'm confident that we will, as we're able to find common dates to compete. Again, who you play against matters. It's brand association, it's that halo brand, and so it generates a great deal of excitement amongst our coaches, our student athletes, and our fans. And I think as we get into this competition now and we get closer and closer and closer, I think you can feel the excitement. It's palpable within our hallways. And I think when you go out and talk to one of our teams and watch them train, there's a different intensity level watching our teams train right now because they know everything has been ratcheted up a notch or two.
Well, and that's the thing, like I literally underneath my suit, I'm getting chills, like on my arms talking about these games. And I don't get chills easily. It doesn't happen. So, and when you grow up in central New York and it's cold out, you don't even get chills. So when you get those and you feel that, it's my excitement because obviously I love LeMoyne. And I love being able to work with you and Dr. Linda Lemura and Pete DeLaura and the board and the student athletes and the coaches. There's so many great people here that you get excited for LeMoyne because you know the people behind it. And you know the competition level and what they ask of themselves and the educational side of it too. So as we move forward, you brought it up, when you're getting everything set with Penn State and men's soccer, you know, you got to talk to this person, I don't know if you know her, Julia Beretta, and, you know, having that conversation of, all right, what are we doing, what's going on, you know, how can we connect on the, you know, what feed is it going to be on? So when you're speaking with your daughter about the Penn State game for men's soccer, that to you has to be a very rewarding and unique experience.
Dan, I'm incredibly blessed. You know, my daughter Julia worked in the athletic communications office at Syracuse for a year, and it was my first year here at the Heights, and we were able to play a men's basketball exhibition game, and we got a picture together in the dome, and she was wearing orange and I was wearing green, and we thought, like, this is super cool, and we may never have this opportunity again. Didn't know how long she would be at Syracuse, plus we were Division II. Syracuse is Division I. You don't compete against each other unless there's an exhibition or a scrimmage. So I felt like that was something that was a lifetime, once in a lifetime opportunity. And subsequently, my daughter Julia has moved on to Penn State, and she's in her second year now working in the communications office, athletic communications office with the Nittany Lions. And I've been out there several times since she took that job. Was out there a couple weeks ago, and she happens to be the men's soccer contact.
Yeah.
So when we knew the game was coming together, we were getting ready to release it, and we happened to be together the weekend before we announced it. And so I'm finding myself having to ask her, like, Julia, when are we releasing this game? You know, and so it's an interesting dynamic. My wife Jen, interested to see what sweatshirt she's going to wear to that game. I told her, I think already, that if she happens to be in the stands wearing Penn State, I may not be able to sit with her.
Yeah.
But I understand it's our only daughter, and we'll see. But that's, you know, I'm incredibly blessed to have that opportunity, and it's might not be once in a lifetime. You know, it might be multiple times in a season before this year's over.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful thing and a beautiful opportunity. I will say that wherever Bob sits, whoever's a fan of the other team always finds their way to be right next to Bob. So maybe your wife by accident will be wearing maybe that other color and ends up there. But as you get ready for that men's soccer game as well, we talk about the women being able to start off on the women's soccer side, full member Division I play of the entire college when they're at Maine tomorrow, but for the men to be at Penn State, just what that means, and to go a little bit deeper into what we've talked about before, and obviously breaking the news of Callum Donnelly going from being a student athlete and a competitor on the men's soccer field at LeMoyne to being a grad assistant to an assistant coach, and then carrying forward after Tom Bonus retired from the position, to see that Callum is going to be leading them and immediately have that opportunity against Penn State.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Callum to get this chance to lead. I've been able to watch several of his training sessions already. The young men on that team and in that program, they respond to Callum. They have great respect for him. He's an excellent technical tactician. Technical skill set is through the chart, off the charts, through the roof. A great leader. Like his opening meeting with the young men, I wasn't able to attend it, but I had some moles in the room, and they all reported that it was spectacular.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting great things from that program and how they respond. We felt like if we had stayed in the NE10 this year, that we would be a top competitor for the championship. So we feel like the talent level is high. We have some young men that have matriculated through the program, are now a little bit older. We brought in some talented transfers. You know, we have had a heavy hand in the international scene where we are once again, and say we're going to go in decided underdogs, and we're probably going to go in as decided underdogs in the majority of our competitions this year. But that's okay. That's not a bad place to be. You know, the bar of expectation maybe isn't high, but I will tell you, when we talked about creating championship experiences,
Yeah.
our teams are going to go to compete for conference championships too. I mean, now that we have that ability to compete immediately,
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it, we're going to go in and compete hard. Every day, every competition, our goal is to win a conference championship. That could happen, it might not happen, but we're going to compete hard to achieve those goals. And if we fall short, it's not going to be for lack of effort, it's not going to be for lack of support. We know that already. And if we do fall short and we do it the right way and we compete hard, we have nothing to hang our heads about. And again, it's about creating that championship experience and building this foundation that there's going to be classes for years and years and years to come. They're going to look back at this as a very monumental year, a very historical year. And these 4 years of athletes that are currently in our program, they're trailblazers, and no one will ever be able to take that away from them.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what happens on the fields, courts, tracks, and pools at LeMoyne and on the road with Moyne College athletics, it's all history. It's all going to be a first. And every student athlete, I hope you enjoy that. Every coach, I hope you enjoy that. And, you know, obviously, for you, Bob, and for everyone in athletics to enjoy that, I'm going to enjoy it. I know Dr. Linda Lemira has never been shy from showing her energy and her positivity. Basically, this is how it goes. If Linda is the only fan in the stands for you, you got about 1,000 people in the stands. So before we wrap up here, there's a couple things that are going on. I want to say this to Callum, so I hope you're watching. The fact that ever since he told me about his home Edinburgh, I have seen it all over the place. It's been on like TV shows and movies. So I just want you to know, for whatever reason, it's following me now. But on September 17th, which my first 2 dogs that I ever had in my life that were 3 years old when I was born, so Mordu and Cinnamon, that's their birthday. So I always celebrate their birthday on September 17th. And also on September 17th, which is a Sunday, we have our fall Fins Frenzy, which is going to be right here at 10 Grant Field. It's the only doubleheader that we're going to have at home this season for men's and women's soccer. So just bring us into that, and the fact that obviously concession-wise, bathroom-wise, we're doing a lot to create that experience for fans, for student athletes, for students, and for people in general in the community. So there's a lot of greats around this fall Fins Frenzy, and it'll be the first Fins Frenzy of the entire 2023-24 academic year.
It is, and we're really excited about that, Dan. It's our only, as you stated, our only men's and women's soccer doubleheader of the year. We're also going to be holding a ribbon cutting ceremony for our, I believe, for our concession and restroom facility. And again, that's important to us. That's how we service our community, and that matters. That matters a lot. Visitors, our fans, our customers, our clients, that however you want to term them, people that we value greatly that come support our teams, we want to provide them comfort and leisure, and I think that this facility will do that in terms of its restroom space, in terms of concession availability now. A cold day in the spring, they want to grab a cup of hot chocolate or coffee, they can do that. You know, we don't have to worry about fans walking out of the stadium and maybe not coming back because they used the restrooms and just decided to go back to their car. So they sound like small things, but they're really big things. And to do it around our first Division I Fins Frenzy, pretty excited about that. You know, we'll roll out the details of that. I have our marketing team already looking at how we're going to do that, but it'll hopefully feature some youth teams, some in-game competitions, some post-game autograph sessions. We're working on a concept for a t-shirt giveaway that would be, if we pull this off, it'll be a t-shirt that everyone's going to want. And so just a lot of excitement around it, but again, all for the benefit of hopefully generating a lot of excitement for our student athletes to go out there, and hopefully they're able to register a couple victories out on the pitch that day. Yeah,
I mean, I'm already thinking about, it's funny you said t-shirts, because I'm already thinking in my head a t-shirt that has the concession stand on it and says on the back, "Where were you when it happened?" That'd be kind of cool. So definitely excited for what's to come, and so many great things to be happy for, as well as, you know, just giving a big time shout out to women's soccer, and congratulations on this opportunity that you have to kick off LeMoyne as a fully fledged Division I institution for the first time ever, to the men's soccer team that'll be at Penn State, like we said, to Villanova being announced, to the Fall Fins Frenzy for men's and women's soccer on Sunday, September 17th. Final word before we wrap up today.
Yeah, thank you again, Dan. You know, I talk about our gratitude and for you to be here to trumpet this and amplify our message along the way, and really provide that insight to our fans that no one else does. So thank you. You're part of that umbrella of gratitude that I feel, not only for our leadership, from our leadership and our colleagues here on campus, but to you for being able to chronicle history in a way that no one else can. So thank you.
No, I appreciate that, Bob.
Yeah.
It means more to me than you know.
Yeah, thank you.
We got to say it like we always say it. Fins up.
Fins up.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
We'll see you all on the pitch very soon. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Proud to be here with you where sports meets life. And as you know, inside of Dolphin Time, we have the opportunity to speak with student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni when it comes to our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Moyne College. I am very honored and privileged to have back on the show here with us this morning, Jaro Zawislan, here with us, the head coach of the women's soccer team with the Dolphins. And we have a lot of history on its way. So with that being said, Jaro, how you doing today?
Doing great. Very busy, preparing for the first Division I game in the history of women's soccer at Moyne College. But we are looking forward to this game and the trip starting tomorrow. Very positive outlook for our student athletes and the team. Challenging time, exciting time, busy time.
Absolutely, and you know, you led into it, this first ever Division I game for women's soccer at LeMoyne College, and the first game of any sport when it comes to LeMoyne being a Division I institution in its entirety. There's been women's lacrosse D1 games at LeMoyne, and there have been baseball games Division I, but LeMoyne has never been a Division I institution as a full member. So to know that for the first time with LeMoyne being a full member D1 institution, the first ever game in that historical era is women's soccer, just what that means to you as the head coach of this program.
Well, we are very excited for our student athletes that they are able to be in that spotlight. They work hard, they earn that opportunity, and we know we are going to represent not only the women's soccer program, athletic department, but the whole college community as one. And every person associated with this program, with this college, very excited about that opportunity that is there for us on Thursday.
You know, and like you said, Jaro, to know that this is the first ever Division I women's soccer game, personally to your program, just how you've celebrated that and been excited for that with your student athletes and your staff, to know that on Thursday, win, lose, or draw, you have the opportunity to start this chapter and you get to be the head coach of this chapter, just what that means to you.
First of all, great appreciation for all the work and effort that was put in by the leadership group of this institution. President of the University Board of Trustees, athletic director Bob Beretta, who spearheaded this reclassification movement. It's been a great effort by everybody to get to this point. And it seems like it's been a long time ago, but the time had flown by, those 3 months here preparing from the announcement has been made in May about the reclassification. All of a sudden, overnight, we need to start to work on our Division I schedule, because the schedule that we had was all Division II. And everything was put into even higher pace than it was before. We are very excited that we are at this point, that within 48 hours we'll be stepping on the field and play the very first Division I game for the women's soccer. We're looking forward to achieving those historic first goal, first assist, first shutout, first positive result. we know that we have to earn it. We know that we have to earn whatever we get out of those games. And even though everybody talks about the reclassification process taking a few years, there are players in our program for whom this is the very last season of eligibility. So it's all about today. It's all about the season. Those players won't get another chance to have another season at collegiate level. So there's obligation to ourselves, each one of us individually, but also to those players to make the season the best possible season, not look for any excuses all of a sudden it's Division I instead of Division II. Having said that, looking back at Division II and any 10 experience, that was probably the best conference for women's soccer to be part of, preparing our team for the men's of Division I. It was arguably the best women's soccer conference in the country, and how almost every other game was like an NCAA tournament game, playing against high-level team. The other games were very, very competitive also. So we have that great appreciation for the past experience with Division II and NE10, but of course we have to look forward to raising the game not only 1 or 2 levels, but in some instances 3 or 4 levels higher against certain opponents on our schedule.
You know, and speaking here with Jaro Zawislan, the head coach of the women's soccer team at Moyne College for the Dolphins, in this edition of Dolphin Dive, which is also in our Road to D1 series, you just said it, that the NE10, arguably the best women's soccer conference in the country when it comes to Division II, and that helping prepare you. Well, what makes you say that? What was it about the NE10 that you feel like is, you know, did everything that it could to get you ready to be a Division I program?
First of all, there were no easy games in NE10. Doesn't matter if you play home or away. Doesn't matter where the teams were in the standings in a given week. There was no easy games. Every game was like a playoff game, and that goes to the credit of all the student athletes in that conference, great coaching staffs, and also the tradition of NE10 always being very competitive women's soccer conference. The type of the student athletes committed to the development as soccer players over the time they were part of those institutions. You could see that the good coaching. There was no easy games. Every game that we would go in, teams had to earn it. There was no way the team just shows up and expects to get the result on the field in NE10.
Yeah, and in having that experience, like you said, that no games were easy, you know, you got to go through this past season as an interim head coach, so it's been a little bit of a wild ride for you, Jaro. I mean, I knew you beforehand, obviously, with Syracuse FC, and you come into this opportunity, right? The women's soccer team had a change in coaches, and then it changed again unexpectedly, and when it changed unexpectedly, you had the opportunity to become the interim head coach, and in that interim time kind of see, okay, you know, do you want to be there? Does the school see like there could be long-term and whatnot? At the end of the season, very quickly, Bob Beretta and the staff say, yes, you know, we want you to be our official head coach, take the interim tag off. And so you go through your first season at LeMoyne with women's soccer in Division II as an interim head coach. You come out of it as the official head coach, and then you move to Division I. What's it been like to go from interim to official head coach, and amidst all of this, to change an entire division in the NCAA?
I have to give the credit to, again, everybody associated with the program, starting with the student athletes, then going through the administration and support staff of athletic department, led by athletic director Bob Beretta, president's office, leadership on campus. It's been tremendous. That project has grown, I think, on everyone. It was mutually positive feeling at the end of the last fall season that both sides felt like this is just the beginning of the new chapter. So to talk about, somebody can talk about the fast pace of those changes, but it has been made as smooth as possible by everybody involved. Tremendous support on the campus for the women's soccer program and athletics. Can't say enough about it. And again, at the end of the last fall season, everybody felt like it was such a positive experience, and progress has been made, that there has been a momentum generated, and this is just the beginning of that chapter. With the reclassification to Division I, there will be some growing pains. It's going to take time. But again, we are at the position right now that it's all about the Thursday's game. The next game is the most important game because it is the next game. Just like for the players, the first play of this game will be the most important play of the game because it is the next play. And we just have to focus on the next thing. In the long term, there is a plan of the growth of the program, and recruiting never stops. But right now, the full focus of everybody involved is on the Thursday game.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, looking at this game coming up, the University of Maine, you'll be on the road at the Black Bears. What does this opponent create for you? I mean, this is a historic game. This game, like you said, where there's going to be a first shutout, there's going to be first goal scored, first assist, a lot of things that are going into the reality that LeMoyne is going to be making history the moment that you step on the field against the University of Maine. What can you say about this first opponent and what they bring to you on the field as the first opportunity in Division I?
Great test for the first game. We have great respect for University of Maine women's soccer team. They had a very impressive season last year. Only lost 3 games whole season. In the conference and regular season, they were undefeated. They feel that there's unfinished business for the players, for the coaches from last season. And that makes them a very dangerous team that definitely has been preparing themselves with a little bit more edge and grit. When the team feels like there was unfinished season last season, they felt they had a very good shot at winning the conference tournament and going into NCAA tournament. They are returning vast majority of the key players. So for our group, it will be a very good test, and we wouldn't want anything else but that. We want to find out where we are at this point in the season. Then we'll have a whole week to prepare ourselves for the next game. So it will be very good to face the good challenging team on the road. There are challenges that come with being on the road too, and it's a longer trip. So, however, we are not looking just for the experience of playing the game. I mean, there's no reason to be part of the sports if you are going into the game just to get the experience and check the box. We're preparing ourselves to go out there, compete, and strive for a positive result out of the game.
And here with Jaro Zawislan again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Dolphin Dive Road to D1 series with the women's soccer head coach for the Dolphins. Jaro, why do you feel like this team made a jump last season? What was it about your student athletes that coming off of a season where they struggled to score, struggled to close out games, when you came into this program, why do you believe you went into last season with a team that had struggled the year before and you came out with a team that had made positive strides? Why do you think the team last year looked so much better, seemed to have more fun? What happened last year that led to this team producing more opportunity for themselves and at the same time looking like they enjoyed it?
Paying attention to the detail in the preparation and during the games, and maximizing the potential in all the areas of being the best soccer player one can be. I think those are the two ways to improve chances of being successful individually and as a group on the soccer field. With the maximizing potential in all the areas, preparation, athletic preparation, talking about the conditioning, speed, agility. We go to the technical area, tactical area, mental preparation for the game and mental strength, talking about the game never being over or being out of reach. The game is never over no matter how many goals we are ahead. The game is never out of reach no matter how many goals behind we are. We keep playing to the last play of the game. And then there's also that lifestyle pillar of being the best soccer player, student, athlete. What do you do away from the training field? What do you do away from the game field? How is your recovery, hydration, nutrition, sleep hours, sleeping habits? That is very important for the soccer player or for an athlete to measure. That lifestyle choice area of the best athlete can be care of. Nobody's at their best, they're sleep deprived. Nobody's at their best when they are not putting the proper foods and drinks in their bodies. Take care of your body, and your body is going to take care of you on the training field, on the game field. So paying attention in preparation, with the tactical preparation, video preparation for the upcoming opponents, also analyzing our games and for the next opponent, fixing the things that we have to fix at the beginning of the microcycle, and then start preparing for the next team. That's one of the areas. And then, like we just said, maximizing your potential, fulfilling your potential as a student athlete. The academics is crucial in this picture too. Once the classes start, are you staying on top of the academics? Are you getting ahead of the academics, especially when few road trips are going to happen during your academic semester? It's very important that the players don't procrastinate and all of a sudden start chipping away from the sleep hours, pulling some all-nighters before examinations, midterms, and so on. It's very important that everybody manages the things to the best of their abilities during the next 3 months. So then when they look back, they said, okay, we did everything that we could to put ourselves in the best position to succeed in the field. And then there is no questions asked. Experience that they can look back at and said, okay, that was something special. There's the individuals involved in the team, and then also something special that the group has kind of a strong bond of going through great experiences that they can look back and talk about it even during the alumni weekends.
And for you, Jaro, I mean, as you get ready for this and you get prepared for this and have that excitement toward it, like you said, all this preparation to go into it, did you ever envision that you would be a head coach of a Division I program?
That's something that for everyone, life has its own way of having twists and turns, and sometimes you experience certain things and you move on to another thing, another level, and then you circle back to the environment again at the Division I level. So, having experience with Division I, men's soccer, stays there, and now circling back to Division I with the women's soccer team, is definitely exciting. But the experience that I had as a student athlete, as a player, as a coach, every day we do our best as coaching staff to put our student athletes in the best position to succeed, because ultimately it's all about student athlete having great experiences, and that's the goal for the coaches. And we put that group of the student athletes in the best position to have a special season, memorable season, get historic first, be part of it. So at the end of this, and say, okay, we did this to have the most positive experience we could have, and that's our job as coach. It's really about me as the head coach or the rest of the coaching staff. Every administrator, every coach, every support staff member is working on behalf of student athletes to put them in an environment where they can succeed and they can have a great positive experience this season. And that's number one goal.
And you talk about that experience, Jaro, and we know that with Ted Grant Field that your women's soccer team plays on at LeMoyne College, the new concession stands and restrooms being put in, just what that means to you for the student athlete experience, the fan experience, the overall look of it. When you see construction happening on the campus that you work on, and you know that one of those pieces of construction is directly going to positively affect your game day experience around the soccer program, just what that means to you.
As we prepare for a season, we can see that work daily and all that stuff evolving in front of our eyes. It's wonderful to see. This venue has been already a wonderful place to train and play games in. And with the upgrades, this just makes it even better for student athletes and for the fans, for students on campus, for the community. It's great positive change, and we greatly appreciate that support that institution, leadership of this institution, leadership of this athletic department provides for all the sports, and in particular, in our case, women's soccer.
And so a final note for you, Jaro, what do you want to say to Division I, to LeMoyne fans, to the community here in Syracuse and Central and Upstate New York as we embark on history with you as the leader of this women's soccer program? What do you want to say to the community? What should we know as we get to see you and your staff as well as your student athletes make history on and off the field, in games and in the classroom?
Great new chapter beginning. Great history to be made. We greatly appreciate all the support that we got till now from everybody involved in the program, everybody in the community. September 3rd, Sunday, September 3rd, is our first home Division I women's soccer game on Moyne College campus. So we are looking forward to seeing great support in the stands. And on the field, we are going to do everything that we can to put a good show on and provide a great entertaining soccer game to all the fans, supporters, and the community.
Well, that comes from Jaro Zawislan. Jaro, as always, I appreciate your time, I appreciate your energy, and I'm just happy that I'm spoiled enough to have the opportunity to be able to talk with you over the years here and to be able to celebrate what you're doing. It means a lot to me from the seat that I have, so thank you for being a part of the show and having your student athletes be a part of it as well. And I really genuinely can't thank you enough for letting me be a part of this ride and see what you're doing, because I'm very proud that all of this is aligning and that we have good leadership and great student athletes that'll take us into this new chapter. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dan, and thank you very much for everything you do for College, the Moyne College athletics and soccer program. We're looking forward to seeing you at our games and after the games, and we're working hard to provide everybody with a positive, great experience this season.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jaro. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. And pardon me there on that. We had a loss of audio there for a second, so let me say that again. AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Big time thanks to Bob as we spoke about the D1 debut for Moyne College. Moving from there to our conversation with Jaro Zawislan, the head coach of the women's soccer team for the Dolphins at LeMoyne, who will be making history with his team tomorrow, this Thursday, August 17th, in the early afternoon at the University of Maine as they face off against the Black Bears on the pitch for the opportunity to truly bring us into Division I athletics as the first sport, first student athletes, first coaching staff to ever play and coach a game that is a part of LeMoyne's full-fledged Division I institutional move is going to be women's soccer. So women's soccer officially bringing LeMoyne as a fully fledged D1 institution into that D1 rank. So very excited for that coming up. And God bless and safe travels to Jaro Zawislan and the entire team. And right now, that leads us to our third and final guest for today. And he is no stranger to the broadcast, somebody that I appreciate very, very much here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and beyond that as a friend. And that is my opportunity here to welcome in to the broadcast, like I said, good friend of mine here on the show and outside of the show, and that's Crume, Mr. Eric Crume here with me, coming off of his anniversary, and happy to have him here. So, Crume, how we doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing well, man. So, how's everything? How's the missus? How was the anniversary?
Everything's good. Family's good. The kids doing good. The missus is doing good. Had a good day yesterday. Go hang out some more today after my football scrimmage. So everybody's fine. How about you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. You're very serious right now, Crume. He's in that serious world. I feel like I want to jump right into it. Like, what's bothering you about the NFL this season? What are your thoughts? But let's jump right into this. Things are going well for me, and thank you for that. And a lot of good travel and a lot of good time with the family as well. As we look at Syracuse, we'll start here. I was discussing the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicoles yesterday on the show. What are the topics for Syracuse football that are on your mind in 2023?
Just kind of see what the identity gonna be. Is like even with the big fella receiver, he was like the go-to option. It was like all the bust last year. I don't want to just pronounce his name. Gadsden, the big fella.
Yeah,
he was the go-to guy. It was literally like almost him or bust. Which him and Schrader got good chemistry, but you wanted to see a little bit more. And like even last year, as they kept going away from Sean Tucker, it was a little suspicious. So just see what the identity gonna be and kind of see what the defense gonna bring this year. That's kind of like really my questions.
Yeah, and like you said, the defensive line returning Caleb Okechukwu, but as we look at the rest of the line, Braylon Ingraham is coming in as a transfer, and could be on the other end of Caleb here. So we're looking at what that could actually be and if he can have an immediate impact. The other part of it is on the interior side of guys kind of rotating in. Kevon Darton obviously showed that he could do some good things. Being a former defensive lineman, what do you see from that? Because obviously Caleb coming back, you look at leadership there, but then you have kind of a rotation outside of that, and you have a transfer coming in that there's high expectations for.
Still, like I said, it's kind of a wait and see thing, just because you always want to give guys a shot and see how they gel as a group.
Yeah.
For me being a former lineman, I know how important chemistry is, be able to gel with the guys and kind of get a feel for what the guys on the field for you is going to do. And even having a senior upperclassman leader will help that group a lot. And the transfer put the expectation. You still don't really know what they're going to do in the game time situation. Everything can look good in practice. What I found out, like just playing football, is nobody really gives a bad report from camp where they're like, oh, the transfer is doing good. Like, who's really going to come out and say, yeah, the guy's stinking up? Not saying this guy's stinking it up, just an example, but
yeah,
just really got to let the guys see what they really can do. Like, you don't really want to put an expectation. Remember, these guys are still kids too, so you really want to see what they can do before you put any opinions or judge of, like, get some type of sample size.
Well, you know, and that's the thing is, like you said, the sample size, which we'll get an opportunity Saturday, September 2nd, less than 3 weeks away when they take on Colgate inside of the Dome. When you look at the team right now, this is year 8 for Dino. So what goes through your head as we step into year 8?
Some got to change because it's a lot of, like a roller coaster. You have a boom year, 1 or 2, then it go plateau down, then it kind of plateau out where they just okay, then keep going up and down. Like, it got to be some type of consistency where we want to see it. Like, I think he's a good enough coach where they can be a consistently 9-win team, like, just because we've seen it.
Yeah.
And I think they had to get back to kind of what the formula was. Like, when they were at their peak, they had the 2 edge rushers, had good quarterback play, ran the rock, and they had identity even when the big plays came. Like, you got to find your identity quick in the season.
Well, and that's the thing is, you know, being 8 years in, and it seems like the identity under Dino Babers has not been consistent, right? It's shifted into different things. He came in and was able to acquire Eric Dungy and a bunch of these other student athletes because of the staff before. And so when you inherit that, you know, that was the 10-win season. That was the 10-3 season that went down to the Camping World Bowl, which is now the Cheez-It Bowl, and Lord only knows what it's called at this moment in time. But that was the best, right? But it was 4-8, 4-8, 10-3, and then you're 4-8, you're 5-7, you're 1-10, and you know, you look to last season, 6-0 start, and then 0-6, and then a bowl loss. I know that we got to put last season to bed, but the guys that are returning, what's your advice as a former Syracuse player and former, you know, NFL and collegiate player about having a season that was really a tale of two, where you go 6-0 and then 0-6, eventually 0-7?
Just the best advice I can give is leave it in the past. There's nothing you really can do to change what happened last year. Like, it's history now, whether it's good or bad. Like, you really just want to focus on the mission this year and take a game at a time, because we hark on, we could have did this last year. Like, I think if they beat Clemson, the season is totally different. They're undefeated, high rank. So just little stuff like that, even watching their season, like, you really can point to like probably 10 to 15 plays and there'll be a 10-win team. So you don't really want to hark on it, because anything go each way. Like, if you look back at every game, you can pinpoint to where a team lost a game and we could have did this different. It's really not going to change what you got going forward. So just focus on the mission or task at hand at the moment.
Yeah, you know, and we've seen changes too, and you know this as a student athlete and as a professional athlete, coaching shifts, right? So seeing that Syracuse has had multiple offensive coordinators under Dino Babers, multiple defensive coordinators under Dino Babers, there is continuity when you look at the offensive side and the defensive side, though. So this is kind of unique. The coordinators are new, but Jason Beck, who was the quarterback's coach, is still the quarterback's coach, but he's the offensive coordinator as Robert Anae has moved on to NC State. On the defensive side, I've jokingly but seriously said they lost Luke Skywalker, but they gained Yoda, because they had the 3-3-5, and you have Luke Skywalker, a.k.a. Tony White, who learns under the tutelage of Rocky Long, Yoda. So there's continuity even though there's change. What are your thoughts on that uniqueness of offensive and defensive coordinator, that the offensive coordinator is different, but he was on the staff last year, and the defensive coordinator is different, but they're still playing the same defense?
Sometimes I know for me personally, sometimes that dynamic can get tricky because I know when Shaper was our coordinator, he got promoted to head coach. And you got to remember, like, these people are still human, so the dynamic changes because their role changes. Now you're managing a larger group. You don't have the same position group. Now, like, that guy's not just responsible for the quarterbacks no more. Now you're responsible for the whole offense. You got a different role. You're an overseer now. So the responsibility change, so you never know how people handle new responsibilities. So that's always a tricky thing. And even with the 3-3-5, it's just interesting to see because, like, me personally, I've never been a fan of that defense, but I never not what others do because some people run the 3-3-5 well.
Yeah.
Like, I've been on the coaching staff in high school, we ran 3-3-5. So I don't knock anything what others do. I'm just not personally a fan of it because I think there's other ways to get it done. But it's still an interesting dynamic. I think that defense only runs when you have the almost, I say perfect, the right, like every defense, the right personnel, but you really have to have a very specific personnel to fit that scheme set that you want to run.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, you have to, and the emphasis is on the back line. So with the emphasis on that back line, Syracuse has been able to do something, and I put a big note on this because about a decade ago, the worst unit for Syracuse was their defensive back unit. Now, it's arguably been their brightest spot, or their spot where they've been able to plug and play when they've had to go to their second deep, to their 3 deep, due to injury or whatever it may be. Deuce Chestnut transfers out of the program, and Garrett Williams finishes up his time, goes off to the NFL. So when we look at this back line now, Justin Barron is looked to as a leader, in my opinion. But there's names of guys that have maybe gotten in rotation, but there's some question marks at defensive back. When I was speaking with Dino Babers this week, he said to me, I asked him about the transfer portal, and I want to get your thoughts on both because it's a juxtaposition, but two things that the transfer portal can be used for, obviously. It's NFL free agency, in my opinion, because literally days ago, Dino goes into the transfer portal and says, hey, I think we need another guy at this position. And he brings in a guy from Nebraska. So what are your thoughts on the college football free agency? And then the other side of it is that when I asked Dino that question about the ability to get somebody so late in camp to help your team, which is great, he responded with, yeah, but guys can also leave. And he pinpointed and specifically looked in the camera to talk about 6 guys that left, Deuce Chestnut being included in that, who jump into the transfer portal, and Jihad Carter, and both guys in the secondary, but he didn't name them individually, but he said 6 guys going to the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC that could have been here. So thoughts on college football free agency, and thoughts on Dino's comments of saying, yeah, we got some family that should have been here.
I'm kind of iffy on both ways because it don't bother me as much because coaches always had the same freedom to move freely wherever they wanted to go. They find a better job. There's never no repercussions for coaches. And for the kids, like, it don't always pay off. That's why it don't bother me as much. There's a lot of kids in transfer portal that don't find a new school or get to the new school that don't play. Yeah. So, like, for me just coaching now, I see it starts in Little League. A lot of these kids play for multiple Little League teams. Every time it gets tough, they pick up leave. And sometimes it's not always that. They see a better opportunity. But you can't be mad at them, just like a coach. Like, a kid might be at a small school and want to play on the big stage in the SEC, just like a coach, move them up through the coaching ranks. Start at a small school, they get their opportunity. So you can't really be mad at it. And this is kind of what the system the NCAA created by not taking control of things when they had the opportunity. So I can't be mad at kids for taking advantage of the opportunity that the coaches have as well as others in different fields. A lot of people, everybody else, if they get a better opportunity, they get to pick up and leave any other field. Why is it different for kids that they're making billions of dollars off of, that they're finally getting a piece of?
Well, and I totally understand that because I've said that institutions and coaches have been in the transfer portal for a long time. Syracuse was in the transfer portal a decade ago when they left the Big East for the ACC. So the free agency side of it, like you said, you don't have a problem with because coaches can do it. But do you like being so deep into the preseason and so deep into fall camp that guys can come in and out to a team that's got less than 3 weeks before they play?
Like I said, like I understand it don't bother me because I'm a football player. Like, there's nobody in my mind that's gonna come in 3 weeks and get my job or to compete with me. Like, a lot of these guys, you look at it, don't play when they go to the transfer portal. Even 5 and 4 star, they go to these new schools and don't play, or they sit in the transfer portal. If you look at it, how many guys really just come in and make impacts at the new teams from the transfer portal? And most of the time they do, they were already big time recruits or something, or just had something go wrong. There are not a lot of impact guys, unless they play quarterback, that go in to change programs.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's a good point, too, as well as the fact that, it's musical chairs, and a lot of those chairs are gone, and guys are left without a degree, without a full ride education, without a place to go, and without a place to continue the sport that they love. So the transfer portal can be a good thing. It also can be a giant gamble, for sure. Here with Eric Crume, prepping you for the Syracuse football and NFL seasons. Crume, on the big picture, as I made mention, institutions being in the transfer portal, so to speak, realignment shook a decade ago, and Syracuse moved to the ACC. Realignment shook again, and then it shook again, and then it shook again, and we kind of are having these like aftershocks of realignment. Now that you know that the Big Ten has 18 schools and 4 of them are on the West Coast, 2,000 plus miles away from schools like Penn State and Rutgers. Now that you know that the Big 12's identity of Oklahoma and Texas is gone, and now they're the Big 16. Now that, and they have Arizona and UCF in the same conference over 2,000 miles away, and I think it's a 28 or 29 hour drive. Now that you know the SEC has Oklahoma and Texas and all the other things that have gone on, what are your thoughts? And the pack is almost dead. What are your thoughts on college realignment and what has happened to collegiate athletics in the world we live in today?
First off, why they mad at the kids getting money? Because it's all about money for the schools. This is why I don't understand why people get mad at the kids.
Yeah.
What any other reason are those schools move to conferences besides money? There's no other game from a West Coast school playing an East Coast school. You got half your week going from travel.
Yeah.
Like we play USC, we had to leave 3 days early to get adjusted to the time zone and travel. Now you take these kids, so-called student athletes, out of school for 3 days to travel to go play a football game because y'all want to make a bunch of money.
Yeah. Well, and
it's just so.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So it's just like it's just frustrating when like all adults always want to pinpoint the kids when they're not really pinpointing the people really making all the money. Nobody's benefiting off this move besides the schools and institutions.
What do you think it does for mental health? And I mean, if you're a student athlete and you're traveling all the time and you're doing your classes on your iPad and you're away for 3 or 4 days of the week and you're not on campus to eat with your friends and you're not on campus to date, you're not on campus to go to a party or go hang out or whatever. I mean, what is this doing to the collegiate experience? Is the collegiate model dead if we have 2,500 miles between division conference opponents?
I think me just personally complaining in college, it hurts more like the family experience. Like, if you go to USC, half your games on the East Coast now. Now you eliminated half the games your family could potentially drive to.
Yeah.
Or like if you was playing Washington or all the West Coast schools, at least even if it's someone steep drive, it's all on the side of the country. Now half your games is across the country. Unless you got an NIL deal to fly your family to games, it eliminated half the games your family could potentially come to. Little things like that. It's just to travel. These still kids, for even professionals, travel is a lot. You picking up across the country. It's almost like you might have a West Coast team on the East Coast swing almost. Well, the West Coast team or East Coast team have 2 games on the side of the country back to back. So do you just stay out there or do you come back home and go to school? Or do you stay out there for 2 weeks and take kids out of school and get virtual? So it's a lot of factors you got to I don't think they thought about doing that. But once again, it's all about money.
Will it fail?
I don't think it's gonna fail because we all gonna still watch football.
Yeah. That's, I think, and you mean you put it simply, but I think that's the sad part. I think we were at mega conferences and people didn't like it and they broke it apart. And now we're back to mega conferences. It's funny. I tell people this all the time. If you wait long enough, everything comes back. If a fanny pack can come back in style, then anything can come back. Vinyl records came back, and now we're in a place where mega conferences are back. Where do you think Syracuse is in all this? I mean, I prognosticated that I don't think the ACC is completely locked. I still think Clemson, Florida State, Miami, SEC. I think the SEC wants to get to 18 or 20, in my opinion. And I think if they get Clemson and they start a league with the Big Ten, it's game over because all of the major players that you would see in the college football playoff would be within two conferences. So those two conferences can play the regular season schedule, both play conference tournaments. Winner of their conference tournaments can play each other for the national championship. And who's going to argue that if Clemson, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, LSU, all those teams are within two conferences, and they're covering the Midwest, the Northeast, the Southwest, the Southeast, and the West Coast. And the only area of the country they're not covering are teams that never make it to the college football playoff and typically don't even get close. So, two-parter, do you believe the SEC and the Big Ten start their own league? And do you think the ACC is safe right now?
I don't really think it's really nobody's safe. It's all to do with money. How can you benefit our league? If you addition and money, if it makes sense, I don't think nobody would say like, even if the Big Ten offer a bunch up north ACC schools some money to come to the Big Ten, it would make sense. Like if Big Ten wanted to Syracuse, it would make sense for Syracuse. It's not that far of a travel for most of the big, unless you play in the West Coast schools. And then they can split up. Then you have 20 teams. You can have a Big Ten West, Big Ten East, Big Ten South, Big Ten Southwest, whatever. Then you got one ultimate conference championship, and you pay to do the same thing with the SEC. It'd be so many teams, you almost have like a playoff within the conference. Then your playoff winner play the other playoff winner. Then you have almost like a grand finale. And if number one seed had to buy something like that. There's so many things they could do just because it's the number one sport in the country. We're all going to watch football. However they mix it up, we're going to watch football. They're going to get to make new rivalries and find new things. They want to get all the big boys, so we all watch it. You know how much money Texas bringing to the SEC just from their revenue?
Yeah.
And they haven't been good in, 20-some years? Just because the name brand Texas. Now I got all the heavy hitters in one conference. We get all of the Southern viewers watching our league every week.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just, I mean, to me, what happens with Syracuse? If something happens to the ACC, where is Syracuse desirable? I mean, I think the American would say, you can come here. I think the Big East would say, you can come bring all your sports here and figure out football somewhere else because there's no more Big East football. But if something happens in the ACC worlds, is there a place that would want Syracuse? Would the Big Ten need Syracuse? I don't think they need them.
I don't think they need them. I think what hurts the overall value is that the basketball is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
That was the pizzazz of bringing stuff to the conference. Like when they were at their peak, if you recreate the Big Ten tournament like the Big East tournament basketball, now you got value. But even some of the slippage just as the overall sports school is going down, it don't add as much value maybe as it did 15 years ago or something like that. We could make it Final Fours and all that. And the value was like, okay, you barely making bowl games. Now I'm making all those in the tournament. Your sports is not really adding value to some of these teams. Even some of the teams that Syracuse has been historically better than some of these conferences, they've been better recently that they add more value in.
So the question is, speaking here with Eric Crume on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Syracuse and NFL alum, did Syracuse, in hindsight 2020, make the wrong move by joining the ACC? Should they have either stayed with the Catholic Seven and gone into the new Big East and then found a place for football? Should they have stayed in the old Big East and been a part of the American Athletic Conference? What are your thoughts?
I I don't really think it was a bad move because it was really what was the other moves they input and it broke it down like in the conference that was really still kind of depleted. I think the viewership is probably better in the ACC. Like you don't really think too much about the American Conference that much or the new Big East really. You might think basketball, but it's not like nobody football you really checking for those conferences. You might have USF or UCF that pop off in between those years or a team maybe Blue More in Cincinnati, something like that. But for the most part, it's not really getting watched in the viewership. Even me as a competitor, I would want to play at ACC. I got to play against Clemson, Florida State, and the primetime athletes. You're going to get people that want to watch that, even if you get beat down. People are going to want to see these players.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's arguments on both sides. I think the Big East is still the right place, and they would just have to find a place for football. But the ACC has been wonderful as a conference, in my experience of it in a decade. I just don't think Syracuse fits the ACC. I don't think that, and speaking with fans a decade later, most fans miss the Big East. Most fans don't like the ACC for Syracuse because they still don't feel like they fit in. And
yeah, I can see that.
You know, and that's where a lot of people have been. But again, what was the move for, Crume?
That's the question. Like even that's why I said now the conference stage still was good, but it was like I said, the money involved. Like even look how much money they made off the Duke and Syracuse basketball game.
Yeah,
their first year, sold out completely. Can't get to see nowhere. With Jabari Parker, I still remember, sold out completely. So now even little stuff like that, you create new rivals. You got North Carolina, the primetime players. Even if we're not good, you're going to sell out. People want to see Zion Williamson and all them at Duke and stuff, little stuff like that, where you might not have the same. Even though UConn won another championship in basketball, half of the people who just casual probably could name the rest of the 6 teams in the Big East, unless they just just because if you're not a predominantly person that grew up in that region, all that. Like I know what it means. I used to love watching the Big East tournament or playing like the Northeast schools, like. The kids on our team that was from New York and New Jersey, it meant something to them to go play Rutgers and all these schools like that. It meant something to them.
Yeah. Yeah, and now, that's the thing is the geographical rivalries and different pieces have kind of been slipping away. And there's a lot of things that are happening collegiately that don't make a lot of sense except for the fact that it's for money, but saying it's for anything else doesn't make any logical sense. It's not for the student athletes. It's not for mental health. It's not for travel. It's not for rivalries. It's not for really anything that makes any type of sense except for, hey, we're making $60 million individually. Now we can make $80 million with this new TV deal. I mean, it's just money on top of money. And the thing is, Crume, like, how much money is enough money? Because this is funny money to me now in the sense of, like, Syracuse and the ACC schools making less than the Big Ten, making less than the SEC. And, this talk of like, well, we got to figure out how to close the gap. We got to make more. We got to make more. We got to make more. But when you talk about closing the gap, the ACC schools are still making a lot of money. And so, like, I feel like people are just they're having the conversation of the SEC and the Big Ten are going to make $20 to $30 million more than ACC schools. But my thing is, okay, that's the gap. But how much are they making right now? If you're making $30 million for, this or $35 million or whatever it may be, to me it's like, how much is enough? Do you have to make $80 million as a school?
Yeah.
I mean, it just throws me off, Crume, that we're talking about the SEC is always going to make more money than everybody else. I don't understand why the ACC is even comparing itself to the SEC and why coaches are saying, well, they're going to make more than we do. Yeah, because the SEC is the best football conference in America, and they've been that way for an extremely long period of time outside of Clemson in their moments. So, I mean, I guess I'm confused by the argument of we got to close the gap. When I'm looking at, like, if I'm Jim Phillips, the ACC commissioner, I'm going, okay, yeah, they're going to make $20 million more than us or $30 million more than us annually next season, but we're going to make $40 million apiece, or we're going to make $37 million apiece. How much is too much?
Never enough money for those good schools.
It's crazy. Well, let's jump to the NFL. You and I talk NFL all the time, and we're not only jumping into the NFL, we're jumping into something special for you and I, Crume. We're going into Libra season very soon.
There it is. There it is. You know something.
So we're
You know something, good brother.
What'd you say?
I said, you know something, good brother. Libra season.
Yeah, so we know we're heading toward something great. Bring me into the NFL. If I broad paintbrush this thing and I say 2023-24, here's the season, and I don't give you a topic, what is on your mind for this specific NFL season?
Who's going to take down the Magic Man?
Okay.
That's the season there. It's like how people used to be, how I feel about Brady. Who's going to take down the Magic Man? It's just that simple. Who's going to take down Mahomes? Is it Burrow? You got to find a way to outdo the Magic Man. Even if you ain't in the conference, everybody said they teamed up to beat Patrick Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes has won with his team a Super Bowl with Tyreek Hill, without Tyreek Hill. Their wide receivers constantly change. Their running backs constantly change. Some of their offensive line has changed. Can we argue that he is heading toward being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, being so few seasons into the NFL in his career, and being a multi-time Super Bowl champion, and doing it without a stout offensive line, doing it without a bell cow running back, doing it without who was his number one wide receiver? Are we getting to a point where we're going to look at Pat Mahomes as one of the greatest of all time?
Of course. If he retires today, he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer. At age, however old he is, just the resume. He in the AFC Championship every year. 2 Super Bowls, multiple time MVP. His bad season, he still throws 35 to 40 touchdowns. He's that good. Like, we say his standards. The only person, like, I can see just purely talented by the last one is him and Aaron Rodgers, but, like, he headed towards Brady status. Like, he's that good. Like I said, that's the first thing I think about. Who's going to beat Mahomes? It's not who's going to be the Chief. Who can take down Mahomes? You got to be able to outgun him in the shootout. It don't matter who you put out there. I don't know how he do it. He figure it out. He go to work. And I love it. The Magic Man. You get only person that seen it was Joe. This cool head Joe got him. That's the only person I can see really like pushing the needle toward, like, even in his somewhat in this class. Like, it's Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow look next year than is everybody else.
What makes you believe that Joe Burrow is the closest to Pat Mahomes?
We've seen it on both levels, college and NFL, and few plays away from winning the Super Bowl. Like, he got like the Brady thing. You never see him get rattled. He went to the Super Bowl and he got sacked the most that year. A lot of people wouldn't even know that. He got sacked the most that year, each one of his first 2 years, and he made the Super Bowl that year, and nobody had them in it. He's made the Bengals a contender with almost the same weaponry besides him and Jamar Chase from him being drafted. He went from number 1 pick to Super Bowl in, 3 years?
So, yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point with that. I look at the AFC versus the NFC, and when we talk about great quarterbacks or top-tier quarterbacks or the top 2 tiers or whatever, when we're talking best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, it is outrageous how lopsided it is between AFC and NFC. In the AFC, you have Joe Burrow with the Bengals. You have Josh Allen with the Bills. You have Pat Mahomes with the Chiefs. You have Justin Herbert with the Chargers. You have Trevor Lawrence with the Jaguars. You have, I want to make sure I'm not leaving anybody
Aaron
out.
Rodgers. Don't leave out the bad man.
Yeah, you got Aaron Rodgers with the Jets.
Deshaun Watson.
You got
Deshaun Watson. Watch him come back.
So, and then on the other side, you got Jalen Hurts of the Eagles and crickets. So, I mean, what are we talking about when we're looking at the NFL right now? I mean, do you wish that this was almost like a college football playoff where the 2 best teams could make it to the end? Because the quarterback class of the league right now is 90+% on one side.
Yeah, but that's how this league go. It's gonna shift back at some point in time. That's just how it go. Like, even you just look at the AFC divisions, like all in one division. Okay, you got the AFC North. You got Watson, Lamar Jackson and Burrow in one division.
Yeah.
AFC East, you got Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Tua. So you wherever you slice it, it's some guys. So but you still almost had Jalen Hurts outdo Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, even with all that disparity. So how much does it really matter? It's all about football. It's one game. It's not like basketball where you got to shine for a game. You can have one bad game and your season over with. So it really don't matter all the parity. You just got to show up for them 60 minutes on the field.
Do you have a dark horse team for the NFC and the AFC this season to make the playoffs?
Dark horse. I don't know if the Lions are dark horse because the division's so bad now. So I'm using them for love because I'm Detroit. So I don't know. Or dark horse. All right, I'm gonna throw one at you. The Bears.
Okay.
From that division.
Okay.
Just because the division's so bad, and from the AFC, I think this is the year the Chargers break through the playoffs and win the playoff game.
All right. Okay. What do you think about my Jaguars?
That's who's gonna sneak up on people. They're not sneaking. The thing is, I'm worried about them having expectations. They got all the weapons. Like I told you, I think Calvin really was one of the most slept on additions of the offseason just because of the trouble with the gambling. Now you got him, Christian Kirk, Zaja. Like they got some guys. You got ETN in the back. They got college running back. So they got some weapons. Resigned Ingram, so they got a nice young core of playmakers. Like them guys can make plays. They get the ball too. So I like that.
Before I let you go, speaking here with Eric Crume here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Syracuse college football and the NFL, I'm a sports card collector, right? So I got a couple things here in the studio I was going to show you. And these two things that I got, so I got a Cisco autograph rookie card, and I got a Cisco card numbered to 199 in mint condition, 9 out of 10, numbered here, that's also autographed. So my question to you, and why I bring it up and shout back some Syracuse love here, is why are defensive players' cards so cheap? A Trevor Lawrence card, you can't find an eBay rookie autographed Trevor Lawrence card for under $300. But you can find defensive player, like best in the league. You got autograph cards. People are like, I don't know, give me like $50. Give me like $20. Why are defensive players disrespected in the sports card world?
Marketability. Just like the first thing you start watching, the first person we learned about is the quarterback. Everybody want to play quarterback or run. Like the amount of guys on offense getting commercials versus defense is way crazy. You got to be superstar status as a defender to get that type of love, or you got to be a talker because it's not glamorous. Okay, if you go lock down corner, you're not catching no picks because they're not throwing you away for the most part. Like Sauce Gardner doing it because he's marketable, New York City, but like Stephon Gilmore won Defensive Player of the Year, and if you not watch football, you walk right past him in real life. But you know who Odell Beckham is. Odell Beckham ain't had 14. Like he's been hurt the last couple years.
Yeah.
Just serious, the common person, your grandma might know who Odell Beckham is. That's the boy out the commercial or whatever. Like just that type of. It's glamorous. Score touchdowns. That's why they don't take. That's why he took hit out of football. It's glamorous.
Well, and you said, I mean, you said it, and I was going to say it because I covered him in college. Sauce Gardner. I mean, he had an NIL deal with A1 because his nickname is Sauce. Like, I mean, his marketability was there before he even came to Broadway. You know, so that's definitely something where I would say probably one of the most expensive defensive rookie cards that is autographed is probably Sauce right now in this moment, I would imagine. So a final note, Crume. I mean, obviously I'll have you back here soon, and I look forward to it. I want to come off of football, though, and I want to go back to the family. What did you do for the anniversary?
We went to brunch, and then we having a little spa day after the scrimmage today, me and the wifey.
Got a little spa day. All right.
Yeah, we hanging. Two-day event because we work some things when you got children, but we hanging.
And how are the kids doing?
Oh, they're good. The big fella getting big. daughter at summer camp right now. Everybody doing good, man.
And out there in Michigan, how's Michigan treating you?
You see a little sunshine, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I was gonna say. that.
Hey, Dan, I meant to tell you.
Yeah.
You know, Michigan, the new football factory.
What'd you say?
Check the numbers, man. I said, you know, Michigan is the new football factory in the state of Michigan.
The state of Michigan. Well, listen.
16 pros in the NFL, 19 pros, 16 from Detroit, and it's 600,000 people in.
Well, listen. I'm saying to you right now, God puts people in the right place. So let everybody know you said about coaching and whatnot. What are you doing right now?
I'm getting prepared for the scrimmage right now. I coach at Orchard Lake St. Mary's. That's why I'm actually on the move right now. I throw my coaching stuff on. And it's a 4-way scrimmage in an hour. Getting ready for the season, trying to win us a state championship.
Well, you let me know about the guys that are there, and any way that I can help, as always, you know I got you.
Oh, we got some guys. You're going to be seeing them on Saturday. We got some D1 prospects.
Well, you definitely keep in touch with me. Let me know, because anywhere around the country, I'm always happy to jump on the recruiting trail. And as always, Crume, I appreciate it. I appreciate the smile. Appreciate the family and all the good things you got to do. Got to see some awesome pictures yesterday celebrating your anniversary. So I hope you enjoy your spa day. I hope y'all have a good scrimmage. And as always, I hope you stay blessed, and I appreciate you, my friend.
Same to you, my brother. Have a good one.
All right, you too, bro. Talk to you soon.
All right.
That coming from Crume one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. It's been way too long since I had Crume on the show. I was thinking about it. I'm like, we're getting close to the NFL season and, you know, football season in general. For college football, you know, got to have Crume back on. But it's been way too long, and I'm definitely looking forward to spending some more time with Crume because he means a lot to me. You know, there's some really great people that I would have never met if I didn't do what I do for a living, and I feel spoiled in that respect. So, you know, there's a lot of good people. You know, the show started off with my guy here with me, Jason Lucas, jumping on the viewership here on Facebook and watching, and you know that's that family love. That family love is always here. It's always real. It's always a part of what I do, you know. And having the family that I have, this extended family, you know, like Crume said, you know, call me brother, and I don't say that word lightly, and you know, and I love that. I love that living my dreams has somehow, you know, when people say how many family members you got, I'm like, I don't know, like 3,000. but it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be able to do what you love, and, you know, to make enough doing that to take care of yourself and take care of the things you need to take care of. And yeah, I wake up every day blessed. And to every time that I didn't let God know that, I'm sorry. Every time that I complained about what I didn't have, I'm sorry. And every time I didn't take the time to say thank you, I'm sorry. Because God, you've given me a life beyond my wildest dreams, and I just got started. I'm 37 years old. You know, I plan on 60 plus years of getting after it and then going home to heaven, you know. So thank you for being here. Y'all don't know how much I appreciate you being here with me on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and for all of our special on-site opportunities that we bring to you, like we did earlier this week at Pizza Man with the Baldwinsville Bees, and Off the Rails with Al, and so on and so forth, at the Wildcat Sports Pub with our fantasy football. They're drafting every single season, as well as our West Genesee Wildcat shows and everything else we've done on site at the Wildcat Sports Pub, to Avicoli's and our Liverpool Warriors show that we do exclusively at Avicoli's in Liverpool. Everything that we get to do, I'm so grateful and so appreciative to all of the wonderful companies and people that I get to work with, and I say get to because that's a blessing for me. I don't have to work with these people. I get to work with these people, and it is an honor and it is a privilege, and I love it. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break, and we'll wrap up today's show right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant. part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York, open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and a big fan of this place.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks. You know me. I'm a sports card collector. I've been that my entire life. Love collecting sports cards since I was a little kid. It brings people together. And there are so many wonderful things to say about GG Cards and Breaks because they, after 2 decades of me having sports card stores that I grew up with no longer in business anymore, I wondered, would I ever get the same feel of going into a place that just felt like it was personalized, felt like they cared about the players that you like, the teams that you like, that somehow, some way they could reach out and have a personal touch to so many different people while running their business, no matter how busy they get. GG Cards and Breaks, they do that. They make you feel like you matter when you walk through the door. What sports card place do you go into has every Major League Baseball team in a box, individually? How many have all the NBA teams? How many have all the NFL? How many have all 3 of what I just named? How many have that customer service, that passion, that drive, that love? GG Cards and Breaks has it all. Josh, Anthony, the entire team, it's different there. It's unique. It's special. It's personal. It's important. It's community-based. Whether you're traveling into Syracuse or you live in the area, GG Cards and Breaks is that sports card shop that you're going to want to go to all the time for those of you that live in central and upstate New York. And for those of you that travel in and go there, you're going to want to hop on a plane or get back in your car and head right over. I got people coming in from other states that are going to experience GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave. Because if you're a sports card collector, if you've never done it before, it's a great way to meet new friends. It's an awesome way to build camaraderie that withstands the test of time. You could be in a room with a 9-year-old, a 60-year-old, a 45-year-old, a 37-year-old, and it's all because of the same thing. We love sports cards. And some 9-year-olds are going to teach 60-year-olds something, and some 40-year-olds are going to teach 20-year-olds something. And there's just a difference to this world. It's such a special family when it comes to being in the right place that does things the right way. And GG Cards and Breaks, it brings people together around something we love. And buying and selling and trading, it's just fun. It's like the stock market, but more fun. So, because you actually get to hold on to it, right? You can't see your stocks. You can see them on your phone, but you can't put them up in a case and do different things. And it's just a very unique world, and it's such a special one. And GG Cards and Breaks gave me something that I didn't think I would arguably ever have again. And I'm grateful for that. And I want you to have it too, which is why I'm more than happy to speak about GG Cards and Breaks as often as I can. They're open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. And we look forward to seeing you there for trade nights every single month. And I cannot wait for the upcoming one that we have here in the community. Very much looking forward to it for GG Cards and Breaks this Thursday, August 17th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. As always, happy to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Having some fun here, hanging out on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, all over the world. And of course, also all over the world, you can download us, save us, follow us, and keep us on any device when you are on the go or when you're at home, when you're playing a sport, when you're at work. Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Podchaser, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube. All you have to do on any one of these outlets is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also ask your Alexa and Google Home devices to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that for you as well. I appreciate everyone that's followed us, downloaded us, and saved us to your favorite podcasting platform. So our library, as it grows, you continue to get that up to date without having to do a single thing but open your app and listen to the next show. Thank you for your support, and thanks to all of these wonderful places that have added our broadcast to their platform. And a big time thanks to our incredible partners, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, 317 at Montgomery Street. The name of the restaurant is the name of the location. Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Watertown, PB&J's Lunchbox, Avicoli's, and we are proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Moyne College Dolphins. It is Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Wednesdays, like today, is Dolphin time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. First and third Wednesday, AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, a.k.a. DT. Every second and fourth Wednesday, we bring you the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student-athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. We underpromise and overdeliver because today you got AD and DT and Dolphin Dive in the same week. Make sure you check out all of our content with the Dolphins in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, clicking subscribe, and finding all of these amazing exclusive stories, including our chronicling of a year's work of Division I, the move from D2 to D1, all there on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. For more information on your Dolphins, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, and as always, Fins way up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The Bobcat Buzz comes to you every single month and throughout the year, featuring student-athletes, coaches, and administration having fun in unique ways. Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse is giving me the opportunity to branch out into original, unique, and creative ways, which I love doing. I love making history saying, we've never done this, or we've never done this like this before. And we have a lot of those moments with Brian and Stratton in less than 2 years of working together where I can say, hey, we never did a board game challenge with head coaches across multiple sports. Well, we did that with Brian and Stratton College of Syracuse with Jenga and with gestures. Hey, we've never done a roundtable discussion with coach and student athletes like this when it comes to the collegiate world. Well, we did that in Bobcat Buzz with Brian and Stratton College of Syracuse. Hey, we've never, welcomed in a campus director on the staff of any school and have them not, really had spent time with the coaches. So the time that Mary Hawkins really got to know the coaches was when we were filming, and to have a panel discussion of everybody putting each other in the hot seat in rapid fire that I got to host. But we did that with Brian and Stratton College of Syracuse. The Bobcat Buzz isn't just a segment. It is a special connection to a special place, and it's one of the unique, original, and creative things that you'll find in this world today that you're not going to see anywhere else. The Bobcat Buzz is uniquely itself, and it's fitting because Brian and Stratton College of Syracuse is uniquely itself as well. A really special and unique college experience. You can find our Bobcat content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and clicking subscribe. For more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And as always, go Bobcats. The Alfred University Saxons are exclusive multimedia marketing partners of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Mondays are Saxon time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, you will hear from your Saxons. First and third Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time weekly. Bi-weekly. First and third Monday, you'll hear the Presidential Perspective with President of Alfred University, Mark Zupan. And every second and fourth Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, you get the Saxon Spotlight, spotlighting student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni of Alfred University. Our Alfred University Saxon content is all available by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. For more information, go to gosaxons.com, and as the website tells you, go Saxons. I want to thank my incredible guest today, a trio of phenomenal conversations, starting off with Bob Beretta, the athletics director at Moyne College, in our exclusive partnership. Continuing that exclusive partnership, my conversation with Jaro Zawislan, the head coach of the women's soccer team, that will be the first ever historic game of Moyne College as a full member Division I institution. There's been women's lacrosse games D1 for LeMoyne. There's been baseball games D1 for LeMoyne. But LeMoyne has never been a fully fledged NCAA Division I institution throughout. So this women's soccer game, Thursday, August 17th in the afternoon at the University of Maine, will be the first ever game played by any student athlete, any coach of any sport at LeMoyne, with them being a fully fledged Division I institution. So on the pitch tomorrow, Jaro Zawislan and his team make history, and I can't wait to see it. And a big time shout out to my guy Eric Crume, Syracuse Orange and NFL defensive line alum, good friend, wonderful person, and a member of my family. Shout out to Crume, and I always love the conversation. It's never long enough, so I always look forward to the next one. And that's the same with all my guests. I appreciate y'all. Hope you have a fantastic day, and God bless you. Thanks, Bob. Thanks to Jaro and to Eric. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, and as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. Be good to each other.